Welcome into the Trevor Staub Show, episode number 29. Today we have a very special World's Hot Take edition of the show. Instead of interviewing just one guest, I'm going to interview a whole bunch. I'm going to open up my Twitter Spaces and invite everybody in to give their hot takes about Worlds, what's going on currently with Worlds or the future of Worlds. So it's going to be basically a mass interview today, and we're going to get, kind of the opinion of the people. I thought it'd be a fun change up for the show for this week. So let's hop right into it. What's going on, Zachary?
I'm just I'm on break from work right now.
All right, well, let's hear that take.
So this is my take. This is pretty spicy. Get ready for it.
All right.
Katrina Allen comes back and wins back-to-back world champions.
Yeah?
This year. Yep.
Okay. What's giving you that confidence?
So she didn't throw the disc well yesterday, even though she was putting well. And today she seems to have found it again, whatever that is. And I think she's 7 under right now on today's round.
No, yeah, she is. She is having a better round today.
A much better round. And it's just because she's found her release point or something. I don't know. But she's throwing the disc a lot better. And I think if she keeps the putter hot like it's been today and yesterday, which it's been pretty good. She missed a couple putts high off the band yesterday that probably, normally you'd think Katrina Allen doesn't have a chance of making this putt, at least back in the day. Yeah. But
so vintage, you're seeing some like out of character putting, and that's the inspiration, and the release is back.
Yeah, and the throw seems to be there today. If she keeps it up, I think she comes back and wins.
Okay. Well, I mean, she's right now. I'm looking. She's sitting. Yeah, hot round today. Really hot round. And I that doesn't shock me, but she is sitting at 5 under, and with Kristen at 14 right now. Your prediction kind of has to include a stumble from Kristen. So I guess you're kind of predicting that as well.
I don't think we're going to see like a crazy stumble, but this is a 5-day event. We're on day 2 of 5.
You're right.
So if Katrina Allen can stay hot for the remainder of the event and she keeps throwing up hot rounds, that gap's going to get smaller and smaller.
You're right about that. I mean, she definitely has that world championship pedigree. She's done this before, so. But I will say, very ambitious. Well, you're not I'm not the only one that would say that's a crazy take, because I don't know if you've looked at these UDisc win probability things, which are kind of they're kind of diabolical to begin with, but they're giving Katrina Allen right now a 2% chance to win, and that's actually pretty generous. And they have Kristen Tatar at 83%.
Yeah.
So all right. Hey,
she's putting for birdie in circle 1 right now too.
Okay. So she
chance to get to 8, maybe not. She birdies 8. So.
Okay. Hey, it's certainly, you're right. 5-day event, completely reasonable to think that, there could be a comeback. And you know what? You're the first one to say it. So.
Yep.
All right, man.
So mark it down.
I'll mark it down. Zachary knew. All right, Zach, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yep.
So, I just kind of have one quick thing to say is if Tristan Tanner somehow wins Worlds, is it with an asterisk?
Ooh, because of the B pool situation?
Yeah, I just think you can kind of play at a different pace. I mean, there's not as many big names that you're worried about. You're just kind of, I think the pressure is a lot different playing in the B pool.
I'm not ready to throw out the asterisk quite yet, but I will. I agree. There is definitely something to it, because not only are we, they're playing in that different, without the pressure like you mentioned, but yeah, the weather could be different on different days. Now they do reshuffle the pool with quite a bit of time to spare, but you know what? Yeah, I'll say it. There's an asterisk.
Awesome. Sweet. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, Dylan.
Yo, what's up? Okay, I have a follow-up on this asterisk. I like the topic. I like it a lot.
All right.
I think Dylan or whoever it was said there's different pressure. I think there's more pressure being in the B pool.
Whoa.
These are guys who are scrapping. happen and trying to get this A-pool thing. I think, you're a professional, you're at the biggest stage in the world, and you're sidelined to a B-pool, and it's like, fuck, I got to prove myself. And so they're working hard, they're grinding, and I think Tristan Tanner's 13 down is pretty amazing. I'm excited to see what these A-pool guys can do. I think that 13 down is going to be in a lot of their heads today, realizing that that Tristan put up an incredible score, and they got to chase that.
Okay, so you're Justice for the B pool guy.
Yeah, why not?
Okay,
why not take that take? It sounds more fun.
There is a point to that. Like, the cut for the B pool was so severe this year that like guys like Tristan Tanner that are like used to just being treated like everyone else on tour are getting tossed into that second pool, and I imagine there's a little bit of like embarrassment, maybe is not the right word, but or like just like that, that feel that you need to get back up into that A pool. So maybe there's a little more urgency to their play. That's the word I'm looking for. So yeah, I could see that. Okay, Justice for the B pool.
I think those B pool guys got some dog in them.
Yeah,
I think we're going to see some proof.
Yes, the B pool guys do have some dog in them. That is the take. All right, man. Thank you for coming on and bringing that.
Of course.
All right. We'll get off the Tristan Tanner train for a little bit.
Okay.
My take. So I was watching Paige pretty closely. She was on fire for a little bit, and then she took a double bogey. My take is that after taking that double bogey, guarantees her not in the top 10. I think she finishes outside top 10.
Guaranteed.
And struggles for the rest of the event. Okay.
I mean, she did just make a 60-footer for birdie. Does that change your opinion?
No.
Okay, you're sticking to it. I respect it. Let me be very clear. I like guarantees. I like them a lot.
She's very streaky. She gets a bunch of birdies, but those bogeys are the problem with her game right now.
Yeah,
she gets a lot of birdies, but she gets so many bogeys that she can't seem to put together a hot round, and I think that's going to start to be the trend for the rest of this event.
I completely agree. What do you think it is with Paige's game? Because I haven't decided. I can't figure out what it is that's leading to this inconsistency.
I just feel like it's a combination of her being unconfident in certain situations that she should be confident in, and then getting overconfident to the point where she gets herself in trouble, and then it's like a never-ending cycle of both those things. I just think her mental game's kind of all over the place right now, and she kind of just needs to ground herself a little bit more.
I like that. I've never really thought of it that way, but you kind of have a point because she gets leads, and then I think I do see that overconfidence sometimes.
Yeah, she'll go for shots she doesn't need to go for.
Yeah, I think you honestly have a point there. I like that. That's a good Paige Pierce theory. So she's tied 7th right now, but you're guaranteeing outside the top 10.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 11th.
11th. Okay, right on the fringe. And you know what? There's nothing crazy about that because there are plenty of players in contention.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting FPO event so far.
It has been. It really has been. And Kristen just made back-to-back bogeys, so she's making it even more interesting.
Ooh, she took another one. Ooh, shit.
Yeah, it's starting to get very interesting.
Getting spicy.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for the take.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Trev Dog, what's up, man?
What's up, man?
Hey, I'm here to tell you that Jones Safari Course, you can't play Worlds on a Safari course. It looks terrible.
Yeah, so a lot of people have been ragging on Jones Supreme. I think it's getting a lot of backlash just because of how similar it looks to the Country Club, and the Country Club has been around on the tour as a staple long enough that people kind of although there are people that aren't fans, I feel like people kind of let it slide. But Supreme, especially in the newer layout, people aren't really loving. So you're saying no to Safari courses? Can't have them.
It's so awkward to me. Yesterday, I think it was on 2. Eagle goes OB right over this random fence. They're playing down incredibly narrow grassways with sidewalks that wouldn't even be in play if the course was designed for that, if that makes sense. You're going east and west and combining holes and putting in new tee pads to make super specific shots, and at the end of the day, the tee shot and the green makes sense, but if we have to turn the whole course into a Safari course just to make it playable for the Worlds, I don't think it should be at that course. You know what I mean?
That's
everybody loves Emporia. everybody loves those guys, and nobody wants to necessarily hate on them, but I just think it's the truth, you know? Like you said, ECC, that's a solid course. It's in our memories. We know it. We've seen it. Of course, they've made changes, but, like, a Supreme course, whether there's a different course in town, whether you just need to not take Worlds there, you just got to be selective of, you know, it just doesn't seem like the course should be played there.
That is a good point. I think that it's not a new narrative for like the Pro Tour or PDGA to like almost force an event like that based on like either one course that is really good and then just like forcing the second one, or you know, like a location that they really want to go to. I agree. I think that it is kind of interesting that if a course has to have a safari layout, then maybe like they just shouldn't be using that course in the first place. Emporia definitely has like it certainly has some pull, I think, in the disc golf world. You know, they've like embraced the whole disc golf capital thing. So I can see where there's some bias there, but yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm not like super impressed with Jones Supreme. So, you know, I can agree with that. And I think it's actually interesting too, like you were mentioning with the layout of the course. It happens on golf courses and disc golf courses that are like more safari layout, but courses when you're going against the grain of how the property is meant to play,
Right.
it looks odd. So like the funny thing is when you're on a golf course for a disc golf event, if you play down the fairways, everybody hates it because it looks boring to them. However, at least you're going with the direction of the course, because when you actually make the course look better, you end up going against the grain of the fairways a lot, or down tree lines and things like that. And then it actually almost gives the course a confusing look, even though it technically plays better. So it's like anything else, because like even when you're playing at a park course, a lot of times like the only disc golf courses that have a chance at looking completely cohesive are ones that are built specifically for disc golf, which plenty of them exist. But yeah, I agree. Going against the grain of the course, the safari course, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, I'm with you right there. I just think it's not pleasing to watch, especially you've got DGN doing these drone shots of just what doesn't look like a disc golf course. It's not, and it's not, you know, I know they only have so much land to work with, yada, yada, but like the PDGA is to a point at this stage where it's like, you got to be able to say like, hey, we need some courses that look like courses, and if you want to get, you know, the outsiders involved in the sport and seeing like, oh, that makes sense, that looks normal. Whereas, we're just got this drone shot and these weird sidewalks that you can't go out, this running along a fence, and it's a weird look for the property.
Very valid. Well, thanks for coming on, giving your take, Nick.
Yep.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good.
So it might be too late for this,
okay.
But I had a take that Juliana Korver, with how she's throwing, had a better chance to win her sixth this year before Paige.
Well, it's looking possible right now. I mean, they're tied. So you're saying that it might be too late because the take has lost a little steam now that they're tied?
Yeah, now that they're tied, and also just this late into the second round.
Yeah.
But also, Juliana has missed probably more than I've seen, but I've seen her miss 5 within 15 feet. 5 putts.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with her putt. Like, it's so confusing. Like, you associate like the like veteran players with like having like nerves of steel and like being like solid putters, and like Juliana Korver can still throw the disc tremendously well, but just cannot putt at all. And like, it's fascinating to think. Like, let me find her putting percentages today, because it's fascinating to think, like, she's putting 50% C1X. So, like, you know, she makes a few more putts, and she's right up there in the lead right now. Like, Juliana Korver could be very competitive. But no, I'll give you the rain check on that take. And, you know, you said you had it before, so the take still stands. That is a solid take. It would be very kind of funny, but very fascinating if Korver got 6th time before Paige, like restarted the narrative. That would be very funny. But thanks for that take, Blaine.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep.
Yes. I think that Worlds should not be played on a course that is played earlier in the year. I think that just kind of makes for stupid golf, honestly.
Yeah, I've heard this one. I mean, this is a very common one, and last year, I believe it was last year, I had even more of an issue with this because they played the Utah Open like the week before on the same courses, so it was like a Worlds preview. This year, obviously, a little different. DDO was way earlier in the year. Here's my opinion is, I do think Worlds, struggles to find an identity because it has the title and that's it, really. And it has a deep field, sure, but that's because it's Worlds and the purse is big and whatever. But I think that Worlds needs to maybe establish a course rotation. And I agree. I think there's enough courses out there that are good. Like, to give an example, I've played Eagles Crossing this year. I've played at North Cove this year in North Carolina. Like, I've played courses this year that are like world class, particularly Eagles Crossing for like a pro field. Even there's some even in our area, and these courses aren't even getting touched by the tour. Like, there are options basically. I think what happens is you have to bid for Worlds. So the problem is, like, the disc golf communities that are invested enough to get behind a Worlds bid probably are already invested enough in disc golf that they're going to have an event of their own already. So I think that's what kind of happens. But I agree. I don't love it. I really don't. I don't love having Worlds on a course that we've already seen this year, just because as a selfish disc golf fan, like, I want to see new courses. So yeah, I think that's a pretty popular take, and I definitely agree with that. I agree. Drew, what's up, man? Let's hear it.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so the first thing I wanted to say doesn't really have anything to do with my take, but it kind of relates to what you guys were saying about the safari layout.
Okay.
I was watching the live coverage yesterday, and I don't know if it was on one of the earlier holes, and James was lining up one of his shots, and you hear like the crowd on like a different hole, like right next to him, just go crazy. And it kind of like almost looked like it shook him up a little bit, but I also thought that was kind of bad course design. If the holes are like right next to each other, you can kind of hear and see what everyone's doing at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of disc golf properties are not super spread out. There's not a lot of like trees blocking things. I do think like they're definitely. I didn't see that example, so like the safari layout may have been weird. But I do also think that a lot of players are going to have to adjust to that effect as the galleries get bigger, just because the roars will happen. But I see your point for sure.
So my take, and it probably is not going to surprise anybody, but based off of like how many close-ish putts that Paul missed yesterday, like just like hitting the top or the bottom of the basket. Yeah. I feel like he went home last night and then putted all last night and all this morning, and he's just going to go out today and make everything within 50 feet.
I do feel like his putt is off and on this season. Like, the thing is, he didn't putt that well yesterday. He didn't do anything tremendous yesterday, but he kind of scraped up the round that he needed. So if we see in this second or third round, like that Paul round we've been getting this year, where he like really jumps out, he could build himself a cushion. And the putt, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it switched on. I mean, I used to live next to Paul back on his property back when I graduated college for a little bit, and like it wasn't completely uncommon to see him very late hours in his garage putting. So I don't know if that's what he was up to last night, but it wouldn't surprise me if he fixed things. I mean, he's definitely not afraid to tinker with things this year, because I mean, you've been seeing the way he's been throwing in this event, like his arm position changed, and to see a guy like that who knows he's a solid player and is going to make a severe change in his form right before the biggest event of the year, it tells me that he's not afraid to tinker in between rounds or events. So, yeah, that wouldn't shock me to see the putt looking much better this round, and he certainly has opportunity, most definitely. But thanks for coming on, Drew. What's up, Logan? Let's hear that take.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, so my take is that Worlds needs to move to different countries, or we need to scrap the name altogether.
Okay, I've heard this one before. Like, if you're gonna call it the World Championships, why only have it in one country? It's such an interesting, like, Worlds is fascinating to me, because when Worlds was created, disc golf was obviously brand new. This is early '80s, And what their goal was with the World Championship, at this point, there was no tour. There was no, events that people were going to show up to no matter what. So they decided to have World Championships, like their idea behind it was like, let's make one event that everybody who loves the sport can go and play. And as things have evolved, now Worlds is just considered one of 4 majors. So it hasn't been elevated to this different status by anybody other than the fans. It doesn't really have any special meaning. So the World Championship name, while made sense at the beginning, I guess, because they just wanted to give it a flamboyant name, I think, you're right. Now it almost is like, it's weird because like what makes it the World Championships? My whole thing is I agree that it makes sense. However, the only issue is that we would lose a lot of depth of field because one beautiful thing about Worlds is how deep the field is. Now, I'm all for like qualifying majors, like really strict fields, that kind of thing. So if they change Worlds to that, that's fine. But like the identity of Worlds right now is that there's just like so many people there. You know for sure that every pro is going to play Worlds. You go back to the European Open few months ago, and that's a major. That was a very big deal, and like we're missing players. The field is a lot weaker, significantly weaker, because players don't like to travel. Some of them can't afford it. So I think that is the difficulty with Worlds. I almost think if you were going to go, like if you're going to take that step and make it like travel around the globe, you almost need to make it like every 2 years or 3 or 4 years, just to make it more reasonable maybe for players. But I definitely see that point, and I think that it just goes hand in hand with like the World's identity crisis, and this is like the title part of it. Like, why is it the World Championship? So, I definitely see your point.
Yeah, and I love having the big fields, and aside from having 5 rounds, there's not much that's different about it. But I love that they want to make it prestigious. Just I want to have a reason it's prestigious.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that, and I hope that they're considering ideas, because I do think that the allure of that event will run out of steam as the other majors around it are starting to create more tradition and more history around them, so that like the Worlds will come around and people who are newer to the sport will just think to themselves, well, what's this? Like, it's just an event that like rotates and has kind of a big purse. Like, it doesn't have anything that separates it. So I totally get that, Logan, and thanks for coming on and sharing your take.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Let's hear the take, man.
So I got 2 for you real quick. I'll run through them.
Okay.
One, I've said this for weeks now. I think Brody Smith will podium at Worlds.
Okay.
And I think today's a good day for that to happen, especially with the card he's on.
Yeah.
I think it's falling into his hands. He's got Ezra there with him, which I think will be a big comfort thing. So, I don't know. I see Brody having a big day today.
Okay.
But anyhow, my second take, Chris Dickerson winning Worlds.
Ooh.
So I've been saying this. Chris Dickerson's a local guy to me.
Yeah.
He grew up not far up the street. The only problem I have is he's a big Tennessee sports fan, and so is myself.
Okay.
And Tennessee plays their first football game Thursday night.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see. So I know Dickerson's going to watch. I know him well. He's going to watch.
Okay.
Late kicks. I'll be interested to see how he's playing Friday, maybe even Thursday, thinking about the balls. But that's those are my 2 takes.
What time does Tennessee kick off on Thursday?
So it'll be 7:00 on Thursday night, but
that's Eastern time.
Well, I guess it's Eastern time.
So
I guess that'll be 6.
6 their time. So that could be like, if he's on lead card, that could be in the crunch time.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he's a big Tennessee fan, man. I know he's going to watch.
Well, so if Tennessee takes like the opening kick to the house, everybody bet on Dickerson.
That's what I'm saying. Tomorrow, whenever, if you look at Thursday night, you wake up Friday morning and see Tennessee won by probably 60 points, if I had to guess. I want to say 65 points.
Okay.
Dickerson's probably winning Worlds.
Okay. If Tennessee wins by 65 or more, Dickerson wins Worlds. That's the take.
That's the take.
I love that.
I made that up.
I love it. Thanks for coming on, man.
I see you, man. Appreciate it.
Sweet. So similar to what Logan said earlier about how Worlds is just kind of like a one-day thing, or not one day, but 5-round thing, but it's a one tournament thing.
Yeah.
How about going to like how like Formula One, like when auto racing. Like, you have so many different rounds, and it just leads up to a world champion instead. What are your thoughts on that?
So it's like you're saying make it like a point series, and that's how you crown the champion. That's what you're going for? Yeah, okay, so that's definitely a different approach. I think that approach probably creates the most fair winner. It would certainly be, I mean, here's what I'll say. If they did that and just got rid of like the whole major in general, then like people would riot. But I do think, honestly. I mean, because like Pro Tour right now, like the Pro Tour points leader, like I don't even know if you're guaranteed Player of the Year for that. I'm not sure. I think you might be. I don't know, but like in any case, like the Pro Tour points leader probably isn't celebrated as much as they should be because like they kind of just get tossed right into the Tour Championship like as a 1 seed, which like gives them better chances. But like it is funny how like in golf, and this is disc golf and golf, they both do this, where it's like the hardest thing to do, obviously, is to win consistently enough to earn points and be like the top points guy at the end of the year. But yeah, there's never really a like serious award for that, and I think that maybe it's just because like people don't like people want to see somebody earn a trophy during an event. Like I guess that's what it comes from. Is like nobody's ever going to place enough interest. But I think if they started that early enough, like made it a big enough deal that like earning points at this amount of events crowns you a certain champion, like I mean, it would certainly be prestigious. Like it'd be very hard to win. So I could see them like some adding in something like that. I like that. That's a unique take. I'm a fan.
Because it's almost like how like the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship. It's like it's not held to as high of a standard as the World Championships in a way. When the Pro Tour Championships is almost just as high of a standard, at least to me in a way, because like it literally just crowns whoever's finished the tournament is most consistently at the highest level in a way. Yeah,
it is totally like the statistician's dream of like the perfect winner for sure. Like you're never going to have somebody who didn't deserve it like get a fluky win. And I think it's once again it's like that buzzword of world championships. That's what everybody gets hung up on because if it's just if it's just a normal major like the Champions Cup, you're not really thinking about like I don't want to see a fluke like win out of somebody. But like whenever world championship is put on the line, you really want to see the best player earn it because like it just feels right. So I definitely understand where you're coming from there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, how's it going, Mason?
Hey, I had a take that kind of talks about the guy 2 people ago who was talking about Chris Dickerson winning.
Okay.
And I personally don't think Chris Dickerson has a chance of winning Worlds this year.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it.
Why I think that is, first of all, I think a new Worlds winner is going to happen this year.
Okay.
For the first time. And I think that the reason Chris doesn't is Chris is really hyped up, but I went and looked at his events and his Elite Series and major wins in the last 2 years. If you look at Champions Cup, Ricky and Calvin kind of fell apart in the last round and kind of gave it to Chris. Chris played a good final round, but still. He hasn't won any other Elite Series this year. And last year at GMC, he led the whole time and murdered the field and still played a pretty lackluster final round.
Okay.
And barely held on. Then his USDGC in 2020, he barely won after a terrible final round of only 2 over, even though he was killing the field. So I just don't think he has that dog in him.
He does not have that dog in him. Okay.
I don't think so.
That's interesting because, like, I always looked at it like there is something to be said for being able to hang on, but I agree, like, faltering down the stretch, is not a good pattern necessarily. I mean, he's only 2 off the hot round from yesterday, but you're saying no chance for Chris Dickerson.
I don't think he has a chance, and he's 2 off the hot round. He probably should easily be in the lead right now, but because he went 2 over in his last 5 holes.
Yeah, he faltered down the stretch for sure.
Yeah, so if he just takes away that double bogey on 18, he's tied for the lead. So I just don't think that he has what it takes down the stretch of a world championship to win, and I do think that we're going to see a new winner because I don't think Paul's going to win it this year. He just doesn't seem like he has it. So.
Well, if you had to pick out a new winner, who you taking?
I'm looking at a guy like Calvin or Eagle or someone obviously that's a big name. That's not going to be a super big surprise or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's fair. It's obviously fair that, like, Calvin and Eagle are both, like, some of the best players in the game and haven't won yet. So, okay, all right. So we've got on one hand, Dickerson's going to win. On the other hand, Dickerson's overrated, and he has no chance. I like it. I like what we got going here. Thanks for hopping on, Mason.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I do. I got a couple, actually. So, kind of going off of how the season has been going for Paul and for Simon, I don't think it's too outrageous, but I think Simon places higher than Paul and Ricky.
Okay. He's got a little bit of ground to make up on Paul, at least. Ricky, not so much. So you're saying Simon places better? Okay, I like that.
Yeah, so I think Paul, this season he does have those rounds where he kind of falls apart. He went even on a couple rounds. He's been cut. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I know he's that guy in high pressure situations, but I think he's going to fall apart. I think Ricky's going to pick up some steam, but I think Simon's going to outplay him.
Okay.
And the only other thing I really wanted to say was up until Mason, no one's been talking about my boy Vinny. So I'm glad he said that because I want Calvin to take it.
Yeah, I think Calvin gets slept on, and then all of a sudden you look up and he's like in the lead in the final day, and it's like, oh wait, yeah. So yeah, respect for Vinny. I definitely agree with that. But yeah, okay, Simon. Yeah, a lot of people are high on Simon. Do you think Simon has a chance to win?
I'm not sure if he has a chance to win, but he's been hot when he's hot. That's the thing, with the field being as strong as it is, it's a lot of ground to make up, I think, because I think a lot of guys are going to stay consistent. I think Eagle's going to stay consistent. Anthony Barella's up there right now, and he could easily take it as well, I think. I think it just comes down to he's got to have 4 really hot rounds. So I think he'll place high. I'm thinking maybe top 5 if he stays on it, but definitely higher than Paul and Ricky. I'm going to take a bet on that.
Okay. All right. Very hot take for sure. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, okay. So, not only am I calling from your hometown of Dover, Pennsylvania.
Wow. Where are you at? We're in Dover right now.
Behind Sarah's Creamery.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's like right down the street from where I grew up.
So my hot take, obviously we're only like halfway through the second round of Worlds. However, my hot take is if Kristen is able to take down Worlds this year, she will go down, and obviously it takes into account of longevity and staying healthy with her arm and whatnot, but if she's able to take down Worlds this year, she will go down as the most Worlds winningest FPO player in history, beating out Paige Pierce.
Wow. So you think she's going to – how do you think Paige is – so I'm assuming you think Paige is going to win 0 more.
I think with the way Kristen's game is, I think the FPO field's getting stronger. I kind of feel Kristen is sort of Paige's kryptonite. Granted, she did beat her out for the first major of the year, but I think Kristen gets a major under her belt. I think that just boosts the confidence, and I think Kristen's game is just overall fantastic right now. I don't know. I think Kristen just has what it takes.
Well, I can't argue with that, but I will say she's going to have to go on a pretty memorable run because I think she's around 30 years old. And so she's going to have to win, like, most of the Worlds for the next, like, decade, essentially. But, I mean, hey, it's not impossible, and we're here for hot takes, so I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Also,
oh, yeah.
When are you guys coming back to Pennsylvania? Or when are you coming to PA?
Great question. We are actually coming to Pennsylvania in September. That announcement will be coming very soon. One of our battles, we're doing a Bogey Bro battle trip to Pennsylvania. This is breaking information, but the one of those battles is going to take place at Pinchot, my old stomping ground. So very soon.
Very cool. Very cool. Can't wait to see you guys out here.
Awesome, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yep. Bye.
All right, we're going to get this guy Hunter in here. He's just bothering me. Hello, sir. Hunter Thomas. What do you have to say?
Yeah, I got to go back to very beginning. First off, I want to say, can I leak information on this show? Is that allowed?
Yeah.
Okay, well, great. Well, actually, in 2 weeks, we're going to have a full-length interview. Trevor's going to be bringing me on the show. Super stoked.
That's
to be
not
coming
true.
Back on in 2 weeks.
That's not true.
If you have anything you want to know about me, just let Trevor know. He can throw those together. But
Not true.
I requested back at the beginning when people were talking about Tristan Tanner, and you just ignored me until now. So I got to go back to Tristan Tanner if that's okay.
No, we can hop back on the Tristan train.
Okay. I don't even think this is a hot take. Personally, I think this is a cold take. I think it's a fact.
Oh, okay.
Tristan Tanner's losing by more than 10.
By more than 10 strokes. Yeah, you know, it's so funny. We were texting last night because, like, the win probability things from UDisc are, like, really funny because, like, they seem super unfair. Because, like, for instance, last night it was giving Tristan Tanner a less than 1% chance of coming in the top 10 when he was, like, effectively leading the event. And we were all like, that's just, like, so not true. But then we all thought about it, and I was kind of like, but he is, though. He's not going to come in the top 10.
No.
Okay.
No,
well, since you're here, what are you willing to do if he does come in the top 10?
Well, if he comes in top 10 or is closer than 10 strokes off?
Oh, yeah, 10 strokes off.
Does he have a signature disc?
Yeah, Rive.
Oh, that's too easy. I want to put the Rive bag anyways. Well, what's your suggestion?
You have to buy 3 Rives. You have to buy them.
From our store?
No.
So just from a random store?
You got to get them from. You got to buy them off of Tanner. Surely he sells discs, or you got to get merch. He's got a cool logo.
Yeah, I'll wear a Tristan Tanner hat.
Yeah, you got to get a hat.
Easy. I might buy it anyways.
Okay, well we might have to discuss that to make it more difficult. Thank you so much for your input, man. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, like I said, 2 weeks from now. Can't wait to be back.
Yeah, okay, enough of that.
Is it me?
Yep.
Hey, Trevor, thanks for having me on.
Sure.
I don't know, I just listened the past 2 minutes, but my hot take is, and this might have been said, but Paul McBeth doesn't finish in the top 3.
Okay, Paul outside the top 3. I've heard back and forth on Paul so far this episode. Some people have been saying that he's gonna, kind of come back. He had a decent first round, but you're saying outside the top 3. So what is it you're seeing that you're just not liking from Paul's game?
I don't know if it's necessarily Paul as much as it's just the other players. I'm seeing really good things. Okay. I feel like Chris Dickerson, I know, finished, I think, 8 under. However, he started out 6 for 6.
Yeah.
And I just feel like he can get on them streaks. Then I feel like Eagles there, and I know the guy before me, he mentioned Vinny. There's just so much talent. The field's so strong. I just feel like he has a good shot, or that these other guys have such a good shot to get in the top 3 that Paul might not get it this year. So that's my hot take.
Yeah, and hey, it is, as much as the field has got more depth these days, that's still a hot take because he hasn't been outside the top 2 in the last decade. So
Absolutely.
This is certainly the year that it could happen. So, I mean, it's tough to say after round 1, but I could definitely see it happening for sure. But thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? I actually heard you mentioned earlier about Paul's form change. I heard Yuli on Jomez say that he's been informed that Paul's done that to preserve his left shoulder. He says it's been bothering him.
Now that's interesting. I did not know that. Good sleuthing there. Oh, interesting. His left shoulder. So that's. I mean, obviously his off shoulder. I guess something with his form was bothering it. That's interesting because I think that makes that more of a story because now that tells us that he's not doing that because he wants to. He's doing it because he feels that he has to, which means he may not even be playing at 100% capacity. So that's very interesting. I'd never heard of him having issues with that shoulder, but I'll be interested to see how that plays out. Good information.
Yeah, and then my hot take kind of is that Ricky and Simon aren't really do anything. They'll just finish in 30th or 25th.
Okay. So you don't think either of them are going to be able to crawl out after the rough start?
No, I think Simon, because he just doesn't really do much at majors in his career. And then I haven't just really liked how Ricky's been playing recently. He missed cash at DMC and then a mediocre first round here at Worlds. So I just think he's going to come in 20th, 25th or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were predicting both of them to win early on, and, it is a 5-round event, but rough starts for both of them. I think, I believe Simon started out his round not too well today as well. He's even right now. Yeah. That. So yeah. Okay. That's I've heard a lot of. I got to keep track of all these takes of people like predicting finishing places, but. Okay, so no love for Ricky or Simon. We'll see how that works out. I honestly, I would agree that one of those two is not going to make a move, but I feel like Rick. I just can't write him off, but he has shown some weakness lately.
Yeah, I think it's mainly in his circle 2 putting. I feel like he hasn't been making as many of them.
Yeah, that is true. A lot of those guys that rely on the circle 2 putts, you don't realize what they've got until it's gone, and all of a sudden they're 5-6 strokes behind, and you're like, what's going on? It's like, well, they're not getting those strokes they normally do. So yeah, I definitely see that. Well, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Hot take is that Paul McBeth should start encouraging like this switch over to talking about the number of majors instead of just world titles. I think that I mean, everyone loves to say 5-time. Obviously, Ian Anderson will say it every 5 seconds on the broadcast, but I think that Paul should also start kind of repping it himself. I mean, that really separates him from the pack.
Yeah, it's a good point. I agree. I like the idea of like in golf and in tennis and things like that, we talk about Grand Slams or majors as like a whole because they're supposed to all be equal. And I think Worlds has kind of shifted into that now. And Paul has so many. I believe he is the all-time leader. So why wouldn't he be the one to start the narrative? Because you're right, he destroys the field in that category. So yeah, we need. I think it would make sense to start talking about how many majors players have rather than just world titles. Very, very good point, Jason. I agree with that take.
Maybe this might be hotter take. Maybe just take those previous world titles, maybe just times it by 2 and add that to the major thing. It's hard to tell because I think there's like a BC era for disc golf before COVID and post-COVID era potentially as well.
Okay.
Where people kind of look into that. So I think that was it. And my last thing real quick is could you sell me on why I should spend like $100 to go up on maybe like Friday and Saturday and go see Worlds in person? I feel like 100 is pretty steep. 7-hour drive from Dallas.
Okay. Have you seen disc golf in person before?
No.
You've never
Not yet.
looked professional? I would here it is at Worlds like final day, it will be worth $100 in a in a 7-hour drive. I would do it. If you're like you don't have anything else pressing, like that's like something you're considering doing with your weekend. Because like I've been to USDGC on like final day in like the crazy moments of it. I would have paid $100 for it and drove 7 hours for it. It was incredible. So I would do it. I would do it. Just go for it. It's a memory. Hey Paul, let's hear what you got.
Okay, so I feel like one of the biggest failures of the broadcast this year was not any of the technical things or anything, but was the fact that they failed to get a good amount of fans there for the opening round.
Yeah.
And that they're either charging too much or failure to have single-day passes. Something's off, because looking back at last year, it felt like every round on the broadcast had really good crowds, and many of the days were just sold-out packed. And that is directly impacting players, especially players like Simon, who feed off of the crowd.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I agree. I think that that is one part of the broadcast. You're right. That definitely adds to it when there's more spectators. I think the Pro Tour does need to revisit their strategy because every single event, for the most part this year, I've looked at the pricing and thought to myself, they would get more money if they lowered the prices. They would up their volume. I mean, I know it's their job to be doing, feasibility studies on that sort of thing and getting the numbers right, but they always do seem a bit steep for me to where you're not going to pull anybody from outside of disc golf for the price that they're offering. So yeah, I agree with that, Paul. I think that they need to revisit that and take another look and change things up for next year.
Yeah, and especially when you're looking at a market that is not as big of a market, I think they really failed to take that into account this year.
Yeah.
Where in Utah last year, you had kind of that we've been missing Worlds, Phil. Plus, you had that it's a lot closer to major cities, and so it was able to support that. But I think this year that was one of the biggest fails for me on the broadcast, and I hope they can find a way to remedy that over the coming days, because I think it's a huge part of the experience is that roar when a player does something great.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the crowd picks up. Hopefully at least the Saturday round will get good fans. But yeah, you're right. You definitely want to see it throughout. So I agree. Thanks for coming on, Paul.
Yep.
Do you have a take?
Hello, I do have a take. I'm going to go with both FPO and MPO. We're both going to get new winners for both. Kristen Tatar is going to lead wire to wire for FPO, and I think Eagle McMahon will win for MPO and will not drop out of the top 5 throughout the whole event. And then once Eagle McMahon wins, he's going to win the United States Disc Golf Championship at the end of the year as well, to win 3 majors in a row.
There we go. Last take of the day, coming in steaming hot. I like that. I like the Kristen wire to wire take. She's got a 2-stroke buffer right now, so that is definitely getting a little nervy. So you think Eagle is going to take 3 out of 4? That would certainly be a season for the ages. I do really like him to win this event. He's just always going to be tough to beat. I think I definitely could see him winning Worlds. USDGC, I don't know. I don't know how I like him at that course. Certainly a talented thrower, but all right. Solid.
My thought process for picking USDGC for Eagle McMahon is, I think it's really something about he's not overthinking it right now. He just wants to go and play because he's resting, he's playing, and he's practicing. And all the time off, people think, hey, time off is bad for you. But in Eagle's case, I think right now it's just he wanted to get the big win off of his plate, and he won in the European Open. And so now I just think yesterday closing out that round with the 5 down through the last 5 just makes it really good. And then he's going to be so energized and ready to just say, I'm going to erase all doubt that I'm a really great disc golfer and I can win any major out there. And then USCGC is the last one off the hump at that point, and I think he would just come in clutch and do it. Okay.
Hey, I like it. I mean, certainly tough to bet against Eagle. I'm always rooting for him, so yeah, that would be crazy. But thanks for coming on. All right, and thanks again to everybody who joined for that segment. Let me know if this is something that you liked for the show. I thought it would be fun to get the opinion of the people and bring that kind of in as like a special interview for this episode, since it is Worlds and it is a very special event during the calendar year. Yeah, thank you to everybody who joined the spaces. I think it was great. Some really good takes in there. I'll have to keep track of them and see how many of them come true. But make sure you join us next Thursday for another great episode. We'll see you then.